women, when they 18 years old, sign away at 100 grand, waste 4 years of their youth learning something that's absolutely worthless, and are at least financially impaired, if not outright financially crippled, sometimes to the rest of their lives. Women at age 18 immediately sign their financial life away for a worthless degree. And I'm sorry, ladies, I did the numbers. First book I wrote was called Worthless. 90% of you major in worthless shit. It's just not going to happen.
Can you go over specifically the degree? Like, there's an ROI per degree. I have a degree where I was going to be a consultant. I have an MIS degree from University of Texas at Austin. The placement rate before the crash of '01 or the dot-com bubble, or MCI and Enron going out of business. Before that, the placement rate was 98%. I was going to be able to pay off my degree. I went to a state school, so the ROI was high. Liberal arts degree. Can you go over specifically how some of these degrees, just like you're basically in debt forever?
Well, you have a very easy answer to it. It's called starting salaries. Economic data will tell you. And it's nothing that people haven't figured out by now. It's just they don't want to admit it. If it's math avoidant, hard avoidant, any kind of rigorous study, it's going to be pretty worthless. So your liberal arts, your social sciences, I would even throw economics in there, even though there's a fair amount of math that's involved in that, but it's ultimately nonprofit government type of work, and rarely do you see private sector work. Anything that avoids math is going to be pretty unemployable. You don't even have to go to college. You can graduate with high school and do most of the stuff. Yeah, business degrees, like a general business degree, horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Or, dude, a degree in entrepreneurship.
Oh, God.
Just the most mind-numbingly stupid thing I have ever, a degree in entrepreneur. I know some fantastic, I have several friends who are fantastic entrepreneurs. Several of them went to jail, like the Wes Watsons and the Ryan Stewmans. And I have found this many degrees in entrepreneurship from these phenomenal, Dan Fleischman does not have a degree in entrepreneurship. So it's really interesting that they're doing that.
Right. So the degrees that matter, a very short list, but not all-inclusive. Medical, like nursing, medical school.
Again, uses math. Engineering
and
uses
science,
math. Uses math, yes.
All your engineering categories. The only STEM field I would say you want to avoid would be biology, because ultimately all you could do is teach in that, or maybe become a researcher at a doctoral level.
There's some medical researchers that make a lot of money. But you could do that. I think where you could actually go off is things like theoretical physics or astronomy. Those are STEM fields where you're not going to make any money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, there's some exceptions in physics. I don't know if you know this. Because physics, one of the things you do if you get a degree in physics is you do tons of computer modeling, but you're using this for astronomical bodies. When you use that same modeling, if you know Jim Simons is the guy who runs the Medallion Fund, one of the most successful hedge fund traders of all time, his traders come from the physics world. He has a background in mathematics. He doesn't hire finance people to do finance. He hires physicists because they're really good at modeling. But for the most part, you're right. Like, there are a few places in the STEM field that aren't going to help you. But like, when you think about the infrastructure of this country, which is going to be engineering and architecture, that again requires mathematics.
Right. And then kind of boring things, like accounting, actuarial science. These are not for statisticians. These are not fun jobs.
Yeah.
The reason people are paid more is because they're not fun and they're hard. So women, when they 18 years old, sign away at 100 grand, waste 4 years of their youth learning something that's absolutely worthless, and are at least financially impaired, if not outright financially crippled, sometimes to the rest of their lives. I mean, if you looked at the student loan bailout, the number one generation between millennials, Zoomers, and all that, guess who holds the plurality of the debt?
I believe it's 68% of the debt is held by women. Is that correct?
No, I mean generation-wise.
Oh,
between
generation.
Boomers, Xers, and all that other stuff.
This current population?
No, it's the Xers.
Is the Xers
because they've let it grow and accumulate exponentially.
Oh, got it. Because of interest. Got it. I totally understand. Yeah.
They got college degrees that know how compound interest works. So women immediately, getting back to why we have this incentive to lie to women and men about what's important in life. The university systems, education industry makes a ton of money.
Incredible.
$600 billion a year alone goes to higher education.
I don't know if anyone's done a study of this. I would be willing to bet you the total revenues from all the law schools in the United States, in comparison to the total revenues of all the law practices in the United States.
That'd be an interesting comparison.
Guarantee you we're dwarfing it 10 to 1. Because I'll tell you right now, I'll give you a different example. It's kind of a weird example. If you took the revenue from all the actors in the world and then compared that to all the acting schools, the acting schools are going to 10 times there's so many starving, again, of course, there's the $40 million a movie guys that do that, but that's all the zeros that are in there, all the people who've never made a penny from acting, and when you think about all the tuition they pay to all the acting classes they've gone to. So I've said this before, the way to make the money is teaching someone how to become a real estate broker, a real estate agent, not actually becoming a real estate agent, teaching someone to go to law school.
Oh, yeah. The way you make money in a gold rush is sell the panning equipment.
Exactly.
You don't go dig for the gold yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So, but yeah, and it's the same. Anyway, so these women are crippled or impaired until I'm pushing 50 now. All right. Certainly till their beauty and youth is gone. So their primary asset is gone. So they've enslaved themselves or indebted themselves to that. Then there's rank materialism, where I have to have my handbag, I have to do Sex in the City. If they get married, they got to go live in a suburb. They have to have a fancy SUV. And I saw this in banking all the time. The number of people out there who have luxury cars yet don't own them and are just got a sliver of equity. That's like 95% of the people that I've seen out there. Then you get divorced. They're not saving for retirement. They are not saving for retirement. And not to introduce politics into this, but then what's confused me is a lot of women, especially professional women, will then go and vote for a leftist candidate, whether it's here in the United States or overseas, you generally Democrat, Labor, whatever. And I'm not even slam, I'm just explaining, to only raise their taxes as they make more money. And so all these people, then corporations love it because you're buying twice the amount of stuff. They also love it because you're working now. That puts downward pressure on wages because now we have essentially double the labor force, which didn't happen when it came into the labor force, nowhere near the levels that men have. So you have depressed wages, higher corporate profits, people making billions a year in the education industry, rank materialism and all that. Why? Because well, you don't need a guy. You don't need family.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so now, and you're going to see it, certainly I think with my generation, there's going to be a lot of angry, upset women who are not fulfilled romantically, socially, familially, spiritually, because they abandoned what their genetic programming was forever since humans existed. And so it's a fascinating experience that we see now.